I just felt really hopeless. It's really that analogy of boiling a frog alive and know it until it hits you. Can possibly be burned out. I'm not working 40 hours a week. I'm taking breaks, but no, I was burned out. And I looked it up. What are the symptoms of burnout? Are you exhausted or drained of energy? Feeling hopeless or unmotivated? Detached? Feeling cynical and negative? Having a sense of failure? And then it hit me. I am burned out. And it caused me down a rabbit hole. Started looking up the causes of burnout, and I really identify with probably like 90% of what I looked up. One of the causes was a manageable workload. I was taking on a lot of work due to a vacancy on our team that hasn't been filled for the past year now. Absence of control, the lack of autonomy, things didn't really feel like I can control it. I would speak up, but then nothing would really change. Lack of leadership support. Was talking to my therapist about this, and what was really stressful for me was I would constantly follow up about the vacancy, and it just felt like I was the only one who cared about it. Well, why? Well, because I'm doing both jobs. Unfair treatment at work and the lack of role clarity. This sort of went hand in hand. Our team is really small, and me being a team player, the the funny word of team player, I constantly raised my hand, helped out whenever needed, and just slowly realizing I just kept taking on more and more work. Lack of clarity was a huge one. I'm actually the least senior on my team, and I just at one point realized that I was doing so much. I've had jobs where I worked long hours, like not the typical 9 to 5, and was constantly working. But in this role, I learned, okay, I'm going to set boundaries and work less. But what I didn't realize was I didn't set boundaries for actual job responsibilities. I think I've been, and everyone probably has been taught that, or maybe just myself, should be productive. And this culture of always being constantly productive is really hard for me, because even on down, like when I have downtime, I don't give myself a break. And I know that's a personal choice I have. Point this out because I tried to ask for help and voice doing a lot. Will there be any help? And I've actually mentioned the distribution of our workload, but nothing really changed. So with that being said, didn't realize I was burned out until like a month ago, a little over a month ago. And it's really that analogy of boiling a frog alive, and you really don't know it until it hits you. It's kind of interesting talking about it in hindsight, because I really tried to limit the possibility of being burned out, but here I am. And I guess the biggest sign was probably when I didn't want to get up anymore in the morning, go to work. I was really always excited about my job. At a point, I think it hit me that I just felt really hopeless. And something else at work happened recently where we were told about a change that was happening that wasn't going to be adding a vacancy to help us. And that really, really, I think, demoralized me and made me realize that, wow, this is sort of a little helpless. What did I do? I did try to speak with my manager, and I think at a point it's just that you can only say so much, right? Actions speak louder than words. What's so interesting was I was given really sort of the runaround of how to kind of deal with the situation. And talking to friends and family, I realized that I set this expectation. And while I'm not quite happy about it, because really it's really immensely exhausting taking on so much work, there is that expectation now, and it's so hard to reverse it. So I wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of times people think, how can you possibly be burned out? You sit at a desk, you have great benefits, you have time off, but burnout is really complex. It doesn't always mean that you're working long hours. A big part is the environment. Of course, long hours will cause burnout because a person can just only deal with so much. But this was such a reminder and warning for me that no, like boundaries are so important. And hopefully this will resonate with some people. How do you prevent burnout? Well, it's really speaking up. And I think knowing where you stand, I've always said that everyone's their best advocate and no one's gonna advocate for yourself better than you are. And hopefully, you have a really supportive and understanding manager and culture. But if you don't, it might be time to step back and think about, okay, what is best for you. I remember reading a statistic that the times people think about finding a new job is usually on their work anniversary, a major life change, or if they've received a promotion or a job change of any sort. And that's because role clarity is so important. I think that me being sort of also the people pleaser, it was really hard for me to say no, right? I see like there's a need for our team to work on a certain thing and there's deadlines coming up. And I'm learning slowly that it's okay to let things fail, because that is when you kind of set those boundaries. And I have such a difficult time doing that. And I know that's on me. But also, I think this is also a reminder for companies and managers, if there are signs of being irritable or a little negative, or check in with them. And I think what was really disappointing for me in my situation is that I've tried to reach out, expressing myself, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And that's where you make a choice of what works best for you. Because really, something that really resonated with me, and I'm getting really emotional talking about it, is that our life is so short and we spend so much time at work that we really want to be in the best situation. Like, obviously everyone will always aspire to something better, but we really should enjoy what we're doing. We spend so much time at work, and hoping things look up for me soon. But I really want to talk about this because it's really been on my mind. And I read comments about, oh, how is so and so burned out? Do is XYZ. And you really don't know what's going on in someone's life. And everyone is a unique individual who has their own story, their own different experiences, live experiences, who their own personalities and what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, and their little quirks about themselves. I know this is like a little cheesy, but for us to just remind ourselves to be kind to ourselves, to be kind to others, because burnout can look very differently. For myself, I didn't realize it until I was talking to my therapist, and I think I've known for a while that I was not super happy at my job because I've been speaking up and nothing really had changed, and I just felt like the only one who cared about the situation. And it's a combination of different things. So for me, I've learned through these experiences that I have the ability to make change, right? That's either just stepping back, I'm off to reflect, talking to loved ones, mentors, friends, professionals, just to help me through what's going on. Have that ability, please do so. But also taking a step back to reflect on what makes me happy. And I'm really excited, and hopefully, while it's been such a difficult year and a half, I think I've learned so much about myself, and I want to be more kind to myself. Yes, I don't intend to be burned out and just be negative and whatnot, but knowing it sooner than later, that hopefully, I'm not a boy with a frog, and I know it will out of the situation. And something that I read that resonated so much with me is that feelings are temporary. While right now I probably don't feel the best, it will change, and I am in control of what I can do, and just taking the steps to change my situation. You can't change what people say, what they do, what they think, but you have control of yourself. So I'm really taking that in and using that to motivate me. And while my work situation isn't like the best situation right now, it has led me to grow and learn so much about myself. And it's not selfish to have self-care. Learn from this experience is that I'm just a very selfless person. And my therapist actually said to me, takers are always gonna take, take, take. And I think it's not a evil thing, right? It's just kind of like a balance of being aware, and again, back to that being able to advocate for yourself, that it's okay to take a break and focus on me right now. And while I'm working through my emotions and my situation, I just want you to know if you're feeling very similarly, or if you see anyone that you work with, or even friends or family members that you feel like, hey, this is really unlike them, maybe take a moment to talk to them, because I think what we all want is to really feel connected. And hopefully they're not at the stage where they're bursting into tears, which that was me for a very long time, and I'm still working through that. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and know that it will get better, and I'm rooting for everyone. So thanks for coming to my mini TED Talk, and hopefully this inspired you in some way to realize the kind of causes of burnout as well as the symptoms, and hopefully yourself to a better place if you're burned out, or you can just notice these signs so then you can learn from my mistakes and not repeat them. Thanks for listening, and hopefully see you soon. Thanks.